Yes. Shalom, Chabarim. Shalom. Have you heard? It could be the first Trump. Might as well be the last. Could be the first Trump. Might as well be the last. Many more will suffer. Many more will die. From that tune, BMW, Bob Marley and the Wailers. Could be the first Trump. Said that back in what was that in 16, 17, in 2017, 2016, 2017, when Trump first came in, because he was hearing this rumor, and they revived the rumor now we have the last Trump. So we had the first Trump, the first Trump administration, back in 2017, 2018. I think it was 2018 when Benjamin Netanyahu from Poland, the Israeli prime minister from Poland, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, where he's the one who firstly said it. There's some interesting articles, the Times of Israel article that goes into this. When you just look up Trump and Cyrus. In the Bible is Koresh, right? So is Trump, right? Is Trump the new Cyrus, and what's up with this whole Cyrus thing, right? Cyrus. Now here ones and ones have to be a little biblically inclined to be able to understand some of these things about Cyrus. Cyrus Koresh. Who was Cyrus? Who is Koresh? Well, with these comparisons of Trump, this is like from the evangelical right. They said like the right wing, left wing, yeah. So the Christian, so-called the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant Christian right, we call them the WASP, not the bees, but the WASP, right? So many evangelicals back in 2018 and countless media outlets were comparing Trump to Cyrus, right? A historical Persian king, right? Who in the 6th century, the 6th century BCE, he conquered Babylon, right? So we're questioning this because they revived this whole Trump and Cyrus thing, and we were just doing some searches for the podcast and everything, for the stream Rastafari Israelites. So while I was going through, we came across some coins and some of what we have here to kind of share if we can get to it right here, because there's so much to get into. This is very dangerous, right? And also shows how kind of freely certain Christians, a lot of the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, how they how they draw it says draw false card, draw false play bad card, draw false card, it's a false card. But then again, what they call it Trump, the Trump card. Right? What does Trump really mean, right? We say it could be the first Trump, might as well be the last. So there's been many of these ones and ones amongst the Christian right that have been comparing Donald J. Trump, I think J for what, Joseph or Jose, but they've been comparing frequently amongst the evangelical, the evil angelical, evil angels, evil evangelical, what it says in the scripture, even if transform, like Satan transform himself, the adversary transform himself into an angel of light, speaking of the evangelical community. So many evangelical evil angel speakers, and a lot of the media outlets, they compare Trump to Cyrus, right? Cyrus or Koresh in the Hebrew. You remember back in the days they had that whole thing with the Dravidians. You remember the Dravidians? I don't know if you recall the Dravidians back in the days, right? David Koresh. Remember David Koresh? Well, David Koresh actually, was he from the evangelicals? I guess a different brand, right? So we have Koresh, or actually Koresh here. Koresh, right? Koresh, right? I don't know if it's in the Amharic with Koresh, but here we have Koresh. Poses, right? Poses thou the furnace. The BDB brings out his name, right? So he's the king of Persia, and he's the conqueror of Babylon. So now Trump, the United States president, the POTUS, then back in 2017, well, actually really 2018, I think it first really sparked up in 2018. right? And now again that he's back in office here in 2025, right? So he's the first ruler, right, of Persia to make a decree to allow the Israelite exiles, but in particular it was we the black Jews, actually, the tribe of Judah, but the Judahite, the Jews, right? The black Jews of Persia, the Judahite exiles to return to Jerusalem, right? So we have Koresh, aka Cyrus. Now, remember the Branch Davidians, right? They had that guy, David Koresh, right? Now, they classify that as a cult, right? Well, is this any more a cult? Right? You know, modern Christian cults, you know, a lot of them, they go like without being noticed, you know, as what they are. You know what I mean? So here, this is going to a little bit more of this, because this is really, really dangerous, what's connected with this. We have to ask ourselves, why? Well, who was it? I think it was Benjamin Netanyahu, right? He's, you know, the Israeli prime minister. And note this, like, we're here in 2025, right? About how many years going on? Like 7 years. 7 years. Think about that also, number 7. 7 years. You know, they said if Trump wins, right, what would hold him back? And really, what is holding him back? That's what we talked about, you know, nearly 7 to 8 years ago about the first Trump. It could be the first Trump. Yes, we were quoting Bob Marley and the Wailers, you know, BMWs, you know, BMW, aka Bob Marley and the Wailers, you know, on that. Could be the first Trump, might as well be the last. But look, it's like we didn't even say it as a prophecy, but in a sense, you know, that came to pass, right? You know, that came to pass. We predicted it, right? Prophetically, you know, musically. The musics and the prophets, there's a strong link there, you know what I mean? Many of those talk about prophet this, prophet that, haven't really studied deep enough. But anyway, the comparisons, they frequently come up, right, in the evil angel evangelical world, right, comparing Trump to Cyrus, an historical Persian king. Now, today, you know, Persia today, you know what Persia today is? Persia today is actually Iran. Modern day so-called Babylon is Iraq. So when we think about the news, think about the news cycle. Iran, right? Babylon. And then now we have today Persia. So Persia is Iran, right? So-called Iran. Iran, he ran, she ran, they ran, Iran. You know, Iran. So they're comparing Trump, right, to the ancient, we could say the ancient Iranian ruler. How strange it is today, right? Now think about the relationship that the modern state of Israel has with Persia, modern day Persia, Iran. Now there's also the prophecy in Daniel, mene tekel upharsin, right? Mene tekel upharsin, right? Upharsin in what Daniel, remember the handwriting on the wall? It's the handwriting on the wall, y'all. Handwriting on the wall. So they compare Trump, right, to Cyrus, to Koresh, right? Now, he's the historical Persian king, or the ancient Iranian king. This is why many ones and ones say, you know, Trump and Cyrus, it doesn't really equal. A few contrasts, I mean, that's keeping it, you know, that's really mitigating it right there. I mean, there's a lot of contrast here. But then we have to ask ourselves, well, what is the reason why, you know, the Israeli, the modern, Ashkenazi, Eurocentric, Zionist, you know, prime minister, why did he say what he said? You know, why did he say? Talk about Netanyahu, you know, from Poland, right? Right? So we have the historical Persian king, Koresh, right? Koresh in the 6th century BCE, he conquers Babylon. So it's like to say, imagine Iran conquers Iraq today, right? So where would Trump, Donald J. Trump, figure in that particular picture, right? Let's see if this comparison holds up, right? Right? So he conquered Babylon and he ended the Babylonian captivity of the southern kingdom of ancient Israel, the kingdom of Judea, right? Of Judah, right? The black Jews, you know, of Persia, you know, we the black Jews. Yes, we say black Jews, because that's another thing they cover up too, you know, and they lie about as well. But this period, right, during which the Judeans, the Judahites. And the Judahites are Israelites, but let's keep in mind that the 10 tribes still were not there, the 10 northern kingdoms. So we had the northern kingdom after the split kingdom after the time of Solomon between Israel, the 10 tribes in the north, and Judah, right? The southern tribe, Judah as well as Benjamin, and their share of Levites, in the south, right? So this was a period of time when the Judeans, the Judahites, right, had been forcibly resettled in exile, right, or in captivity, right? Now, this allowed for the Judeans, the Judahites, right, the tribe of Judah, to return to the area known as what we call Judea. Judea. A lot of articles got it wrong. They mix up the Jews and the Israelites. Yes, the Jews, the Judeans are Israelites, but we have to look at things in context. You know what I mean? Have to read and understand this with comprehension. Otherwise, you'll go for the okie doke and say, oh, Trump is Cyrus. How was he Cyrus? Well, here they have him with this kind of orange kind of hair right here, maybe like that, Cyrus. But it really does not equal, right? It does not equal. It's like when you see the Caesar Borgia's picture, the so-called white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed picture, right? And they say this is Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ. That ain't Yeshua, right? That ain't him. They lie about so many things, but they lie so wonderfully, so smoothly. Right? Now we're going to touch on some other related things because this is where the rubber meets the road, because that had allowed the Judeans, right, to return to the area, right, known as Judea, right, and to build or rebuild the temple of Solomon. So the Babylonians had destroyed 70 years earlier, 70 years, let's look at the time, 70 years, right? 70 years earlier, they had destroyed, right, the temple of Solomon, right, the Beit Mikdash of Shlomo HaMelech. They had destroyed it, right? And then Nebuchadnezzar, right, he had took into captivity, the Judeans, many of the Judeans, of the southern kingdom. By this time, Israel was already taken, the 10 tribes was already out of the picture, right? So, see, they try to confuse it with today's politics and what the nations did, right, with the state of Israel, right? That wasn't God-given, and that was the nations, right? The nations of the world. That was a political move right there. But be that as it may, right, to rebuild the temple, right, in Jerusalem, to rebuild the wall of Jerusalem. These are in the books of Ezra and Nehemiah. So for more on this, check out books like Ezra and Nehemiah, right? So we can really see what's going on, right? Now, Cyrus Koresh is referenced most prominently in the Old Testament, in the Hebrew Bible, the Tanakh, right? In the book of the prophet, right? Yeshayahu, right? Isaiah the prophet, right? In that Koresh, he appears as like a figure of deliverance. In fact, more to the point, right? More to the point right here, right? Cyrus, he actually is called, right? This is what it's coming to. This is what it's leading to. So let's recognize the times when we live in: wars, rumors of wars, all that, right? The last days, right? The end times, right? The times of the Gentiles, the times of the nation states. That's why we said it could be the first Trump, right? Might as well be the last. You got this coin going around, right? Just to show you a little bit of it. It's called the temple coin, right? The temple coin. What is this about, right? And they say after what? 70 years, right? After 70 years, right? 70 years. Oh, yeah, 70 years. So here, let's show you something in the scripture right here, right? Because is Trump, right? Is Trump Cyrus? Is he a Messiah? Because see, Koresh, Cyrus, this one right here, this is his name in Hebrew, Koresh, a.k.a. Cyrus. BDB, Brown Drivers Briggs, bring out a possible rendering of his name. Is from Persian, the ancient Iranian, right? As poses thou the furnace. Are you posing the furnace? You know what the furnace is? Hot to fire, You know, some think like World War III. You know, you hear that talk, but we are in the last times, the last days of the times of the Gentiles. You know, the Greco times of the Greco-Romans. You know, some will call it white supremacy. You know, different names, the Anglo-American world order. You know, the times of the Gentiles, the times of the nation states. Right. But when we look into the scripture, it says here in first of all, Cyrus is mentioned in 19 verses. To show how important this Cyrus or Koresh is, he's mentioned in 19 verses. So it says, now in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia. So first of all, if Trump is Cyrus, why are they saying that Trump is Cyrus? Right? What's the game? What's the move that's going on? Why are they saying this? Why the evangelicals, the Christian right, they're saying it? Why is Netanyahu, the prime minister of the state of Israel, why is he saying this? Why are they pushing this rhetoric? And how does this connect with the Temple Mount, Al-Aqsa, right? And that whole political tinderbox over there. So now here, 2 Chronicles 36:22 says, in the first year of Cyrus, so the first year that Cyrus Koresh, king of Persia, that the word of Yahweh, right, by the mouth of Jeremiah, might be accomplished. So we have two prophets, Isaiah, we mentioned Isaiah, and we have Jeremiah. Jeremiah speaks about the 70 years, right? Yahweh stirred up the spirit of Cyrus. Stirred up the spirit of who? Koresh, Cyrus, king of Persia. So Cyrus was the king of Iran, not the king of the United States of America, unless they are saying to us that the United States of America is Iran. But Iran calls the United States of America the great Shaitan, the great Satan, the great Shaitan, right? And then, you know, the capital of the United States is Washington. It's Washington. Get that right there. That he made a proclamation. So Cyrus, his heart was stirred up by Yahweh, right? Not by the Christian right, not by Netanyahu, not by, you know, the Ashkenazi Zionists, you know, not by any of them. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? But Yahweh, right? So you see the difference. Yahweh stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, right? Let's go into Persia for a moment. Paras, right? The empire of Persia, right? Notice it encompassed the territory from India to the east to Egypt, right? Thraca, right, on the west, and included, besides portions of Europe, Asia, the whole of Western Asia, between the Black Sea, the Caucasus, right, the Caucasus, right, the Caspian, and the what's that, Hazartis, right, Hazartis on the north, and the Arabian Desert, the Persian Gulf, and the Indian Ocean on the south. Now, when we go into the book of Esther, right, it says from India to Ethiopia, right? So just put that there in the mix, right? So Yahweh stirred up his heart. It wasn't the Christian right. It wasn't the evil angels, the evangelicals. It wasn't the WASP. It wasn't the white Zionists. You know, it was none of them, right? Right? That he made a proclamation, check, throughout all his kingdom, and, right, also in writing, saying, right, now we can get into, let's see if we get into the next verse right here, right, thus saith Cyrus, king of Persia, all the kingdoms of the earth, right, hath Yahweh, the Elohim of heaven, right, Yahweh, the God of heaven, given me, and have charged me to build him a house in Jerusalem. This is what was stirred up in Cyrus' heart, Koresh, the one who Trump is being compared to, right, that is in Judah. So we have Judah, right? Yehuda, right? Praise, celebrate it. Who among you of all people, Yahweh Elohayo, right? Elohav, right? Yahweh, you know, Yahweh Elohayo, with him, and let him go up. So here he was saying that, you know, who is there among all of his people? So this is what Cyrus was saying, right, to the Jews, right, even we, the black Jews of Persia, the tribe of Judah that was in Persia, right? So let's understand the moves that are going on right here in the history. Now notice when it says this, now that was in Chronicles, and then we have Ezra. Ezra chapter 1, verse 1, it says, now in the first year of Cyrus. So Cyrus did this in his first year. And Cyrus was king of Persia, right? Trump, right, didn't do it. Did he do it in his first year? Right? Trump is not king, but he's president, but they treat him like king. But notice Persia. Persia, right? Ancient Iran. Let's go over here. Ancient Iran, they don't bring this out right here, but you could look it up. Persia is modern, right? Persia is modern Iran, right? Ancient Iran is Persia, right? So in the first year, the word of Yahweh by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled. That's the 70 years, where the tribe of Judah was to spend like 70 years because they didn't allow the land to enjoy her Shabbats, right? So it goes on right here to build him a house, that he's saying, that Cyrus saying that Yahweh has charged him, the king of Persia, to build Yahweh a house, right, at Jerusalem, at Jerusalem, that is in Judea, Yehuda, right? Also Cyrus the king brought forth the vessels of the house of Yahweh. Because you have to remember that when Babylon had destroyed the temple of Shlomo HaMelech, King Solomon, Solomon's temple, they had destroyed Solomon's temple, that they took the vessels, right, the instruments of the holy house, right, into Babylon, right? That's why it says here that Nebuchadnezzar, right, Nebuchadnezzar had brought forth. So Nebuchadnezzar was the king of Babylon. So it's the Babylonians that took the Jews, the Yehudi, Ha-Yehudim, even we the black Jews, our ancestors took them into the Babylonian captivity. You see what I'm saying? And then the Persian king, right, Koresh or Cyrus, he defeated the Babylonians, right? So now the Yehudi became, you could say, his problem, or his, became his, because he conquered, right? So there was the captivity, the Babylonians did the captivity, but they're not conquered. So it's like saying if Iran, right, if Iran conquers Iraq, you remember Iran and Iraq, they fought. Remember, this is kind of historical for some, right? They had brought out of Jerusalem, right, and had put them in the house of his gods. So Nebuchadnezzar had took the instruments out of the house of Yahweh HaKadosh, Baruch Hu, the Holy One, blessed be He, and put it in the house of his idol gods, right? Even, right, those did Cyrus, king of Persia, bring forth by the hand of Mithredath, the treasurer, and number them to Sheshbazzar, right, the prince of Yehuda, right? See, it's important that we go through these details here, right? And then look at what Trump is doing, right? Let's see what Trump is doing. Let's see if we can show you this right here, right? What Trump is doing, right? Well, over here, right, let's show this right here. You might have to scroll through a few pictures, right? This is from our podcast right here, right? I'm going to show you over here, right? Scroll through a few pictures. Where's those Trump pictures where it was showing about the ark? The ark. Yeah, you're seeing all the pics right here, right? Well, actually, we're going the other way. Give me one moment here, brothers and sisters. Just fast forwarding through these pictures, because we just read what Koresh did, right? Because see, it's all about this third temple, right? Now that right there could really, be the Mene Tekel Upharsin, right? The Mene Tekel Upharsin. We're going to have to bring that out as well, right? That's in Daniel's prophecy, right? That's the handwriting, right? The handwriting on the wall. Okay, here, we was going in the wrong direction. So now we have the Ark, right? The Ark of the Covenant, right? Now notice the Ark of the Covenant connection of Ethiopia and Iran, the book of Esther from India to Ethiopia, Ark of the Covenant connection. Now notice this right here. Let's zoom in on this right here. Now, here we have a so-called, they say this is a so-called perfect replicant of the Ark of the Covenant. Now, people would be spelling Ark like A-R-C, but actually it's A-R-K. Be that as it may, Ark of the Covenant, right? 2,700 hours of labor, right? 6 pounds of gold, right? So they allegedly did this according to their best understanding of the specs that we have in the Torah, in Shemot, and in the scripture, right? So I noticed this down here said Mar-a-Lago. I heard the President Trump, speak a lot about this place. Oh, Mar-a-Lago, so wonderful, so beautiful. The most beautiful place, Mar-a-Lago. You talk about this Mar-a-Lago. So this guy here, right, you might know his name, but he's standing here. So this was in some of our research. We came across this, right, and doing the podcast. Yeah? So here James O'Keefe is saying this is Patriot Takes. Remember, the Patriots are part of the same right, that same so-called right wing, pseudo-conservative, the right wing, the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, the WASP of America, so back then they were called WASP, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, which tells us if there's a white Anglo-Saxon, there must be yes, you got it, a black Anglo-Saxon. But that's a whole other vid, right? But why is there a golden replica of the Ark of the Covenant at Trump's Mar-a-Lago home? Let's ask the question, right? They ask the question here, why is there a gold replica of the Ark of the Covenant at Trump's Mar-a-Lago home? That's the question there, right? Patriot Takes. Comment on James O'Keefe, right? So here we scroll down here, and then notice this right here. Now the George HQ says this in reply to James O'Keefe. They say, plot twist, it's not a replica. You see the implication of this. It's not a replica. Now we know about the Ethiopian connection to the Ark of the Covenant, right? The throne of David, the Beta Israel of Ethiopia, all that right there. They're there. As Psalm 87 verse 4, it says, with Ethiopia, this man was born there. But here they say plot twist, it's not a replica. So what's being implied here, right, is that what you see here is not a replica, but may actually be the actual ark. Rastaman, what is it? Hot to fire bun, right? But you can see how they're seeking to make the script, right? You see how they're making their script, right, off of the script. Right, what we're showing with the scripture quotes right here. So the new Ark of the Covenant constructed. Now they call it the new Ark of the Covenant. So we can see that, like His Majesty says, the young people exposed, to this propaganda, the most dangerous propaganda out there, being put out there in social media. Now they even add a quote at the bottom to Revelation 11:19. And it says, then God's temple in heaven was open, and the ark of his covenant, right, was seen within his temple. There were flashes of lightning, rumblings, peals of thunder, an earthquake, and heavy hail. Well, we know that America, England, the daughter, right, of Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, baby London, right, England's daughter, America, the daughter of Babylon. Right, they're all based on the Greco-Roman model, right? We're still in the times of the Greco-Romans after the last 2,000 years. That's when the Bible talks about the times of the Gentiles. When it's about the end, it's the end of the nation states, right? The nation state, the collapse of the nation state. That's the times of the Gentiles. Many have not defined that quite correctly. What are the times of the Gentile? So when it talks about the end, you said the end times, the end of the times of the Gentiles, the times of the nation states, right? So over here, notice we have this Ark of the Covenant, but then over here, it says what? Why does it say down here, Jewish Messiah or Antichrist? Uh-oh. Why does it say Jewish Messiah or Antichrist? Well, let's get back to the scripts over here, right? Might have to follow up in the part 2 on this right here, y'all, right? So here, right, it's speaking about how they gave money also to the Masons, not Freemasons, but the Masons, right? Talk about the Masons, right? Not Freemasons. See, people get that confused. They think it's all the same thing. That's how you get trapped. You know what I mean? Because you're not paying attention, right? Paying attention to details. You know what I mean? So right here, they gave money to the Masons and to the carpenters, and meat or food and drink and oil to them of Zidon and Tyre. When we look at like Tel Aviv and Tyre, the coast of Tyre today, yeah, you know what I mean? Ain't nothing new. It says, ain't nothing new in the sun, right? To bring cedar trees, right, from Lebanon, right, to the Sea of Jopha, right? According to the grant, notice it right here, according to the who? According to the grant, right? The grant, where's that right there? According to the grant, so the word grant, right? The rishon, the permission, the rishon, right? The permit, right? The grant that he had of Cyrus of Koresh, right? Remember the Trump connection, the carpenters, the workmen, right? King of Persia, right? Now it says, but Zerubbabel and Yeshua, and the rest of the chief of the fathers of Israel said to them, y'all have nothing to do with us to build a house to Eloheinu. All right. But we ourselves together will build to Yahuwah Elohei Yisrael, as King Cyrus, the king of Persia, hath commanded us. All right. So you can see how they're trying to lay this upon Trump. You know, let's look at the picture. Right. Look at the picture. So the first shot, right, was them saying, well, Trump, right, saying, well, Trump is Cyrus. Right? Why Cyrus? Right? Jewish Messiah. Right? So let's scroll. We're gonna return to this. This is talking about what Trump did, but we have to scroll ahead to Isaiah the prophet so you can see the Messiah connection. Right? So this now explains. Right? This now explains this right here. These two verses. Right? We have Isaiah 44:28. Right? And Isaiah Yeshaya 45:1. Now, this is to be seen in connection with the Jewish Messiah or Antichrist, right? The Jewish Messiah or Antichrist. And you can see Trump right there. He's at the wall, right? Right, facing the rising of the sun. He's at the wall right there in the Mar-a-Lago, right? We saw the ark, and that's it right there in the centerpiece, right? So here, this is to explain this right here, right? So they're looking at Trump like a Jewish Messiah, right? A Jewish Messiah. So is Trump, right, Cyrus, the Jewish Messiah, or is he Antichrist, right? What's the play here, right? I know this is hard for one. I'm like, what are you saying? We're saying it could be the first Trump, might as well be the last, right? Now we know those words were true when we said it nearly 8 years ago, right? Now we have the last Trump. Right, and also the BMW song, you know what I mean? You know, Bob Marley and the Wailers. Okay, let me show you this. Let me show you this right here. Right, Bob Marley could be the first Trump. Right, could be the first Trump. Right, where we go? Could be the first Trump. Right, let's go. Could be the first Trump. Where we go? There we go right here. Everything is political. I will never be a politician or think political. Me just deal with life and nature. That is the greatest thing to me. Bob Marley there, keeping it simple. You know what I mean? Like that right there. But we're looking for the tune right here. Might not be, okay. Could be the first Trump. Right, let's see. Could be the first Trump. What's going on here with our windows? Could be the first Trump. Okay. Oh, that's what we wanted to put in, right? Put in right there. Okay, hold on. Okay, so here we go. For all you to see it for yourself. Yeah, machine was acting weird, right? This could be the first trumpet. Right, scroll in right there. There we go, right there. This could be the first Trump. We say Trump, right? But this could be the first trumpet. Might as well be the last, right? All the lyrics from Burhan Selassie, Bob Marley, and the Wailers. The full quote is, "This could be the first Trump. Might as well be the last. Many more will have to suffer. Many more will have to die." Don't ask me why. Why? The Bible already told you, right? What time? This is from Natural Mystic. There's a natural mystic. Don't you feel it? The natural mystic in the air, right? This year, 2025 year, right? The natural mystic in the air, right? Could be the first Trump. Might as well be the last, Many more, many more, many more. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So right here, it could be the first trump. Might as well be the last. Many more will suffer. Many more will die. Right? So there, just to bring that into focus, to bring that into view. Right? Let's close that there. So here, so Jewish Messiah, right, or Antichrist. Right? So let's just lay the ground right here. So we have Isaiah 44:28. Is Trump Koresh? No, he's not. Right? I mean, it doesn't line up. But we see the game that's going on. We see what they're working with. You know what I mean? We see what they're working with. What the first of all, here it says, this is prophet Isaiah that saith of Cyrus, my shepherd. So this is what they're putting on to Trump. And Trump, no doubt, whether he's knowledgeable about this or not, you know, works to the ego. So he's going with it, right? And shall perform all my pleasure. Now remember, the speaker here is actually Yahweh, all right? Now, we know that Yahweh hasn't said this about Trump, but it's the Christian right, the evangelicals, right? And the so-called white Zionists, right? I have to say it like that, because it's the fact of the matter, right? That are saying this. They're putting this on Trump. Now, remember what Trump had done some years ago, right? When he was in the first Trump. What did he do? You know, that whole announcement about the state of Israel, like you know, that Jerusalem will be the capital, right? And there was a big, you know, hurrah around that. So they're looking at these things to be connected, even saying to Jerusalem. So is this a true prophecy, or are they working false prophecy, right? But is that false prophecy they're working part of what is called that end times delusion, right? Even saying to Jerusalem, right? Remember Trump and Jerusalem back in, what was that? When was that announcement made? I think I have it over here, right? That announcement about Jerusalem being the capital of Israel. Even saying to Jerusalem, thou shalt be built. Trump said something to the effect of the same, something similar to that. Well, there was a script written for him and he freestyled it. But yeah, thou shalt be built, and to the temple thy foundation shall be laid. Now look up these connections concerning Trump. Now, here's where we have to go back over here, right? So we showed you, right? We showed you the ark, right? The ark, right? The ark, right? And many of them defend this interpretation, right? So look over here. Donald Trump has a replica. Look at this right here. Donald Trump has a replica of the Ark of the Covenant at his home in Mar-a-Lago. Who knew? I'm sure the Christian right, that defend Trump, I'm sure they knew this, right? So what's the big picture, right? What's the big picture here? What is going on here, right? Right now, this is also very interesting. This is a little bit of, you know, before, you know, right here, James O'Keefe, you know, Ark of the Covenant, right, is still the most sought after and valuable item in existence, considering its content and author of whose content, Notice what it said right here, right? The one who gets hold of it, spreads it, will rip down the veil and accelerate the awakening above and beyond anything else imaginable, right? Now, remember, the real Ark of the Covenant, from all credible and reliable history, right, made its way to Ethiopia, right? That's the true Zion. You know, we say the black Zion, but the true Zion. But, you know, we digress right there. So here, however, a close second would be the list of subjects' truth that authoritarian-minded, look what it says, AI sponsors have instructed their chatties to bear false witness about. In other words, leakers, whistleblowers. That list is the unholy grail. Here the kind of fly talk they're talking right here, right? The Ark of the Covenant. Now, this would explain a lot of things, even with Trump flashing, you know, the false Trinity, you know what I mean? Because it doesn't belong to he, right?